Hey guys, Miss Fearing here. So today we're going to go ahead and we're going to look at graphing lines in any form. We're also going to look at a standard form of an equation and how do we put things into that form. So our learning target for today is I can graph and write equations in any form. So here we're going to look at standard form of an equation. Standard form is just ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are constants. And I want to add to that, a, b, and c also need to be whole integers, and a has to be positive. So a needs to be positive, and then a, b, and c needs to be constants, but they also need to be whole integers, so no fractions. We typically turn standard form into slope-intercept form before we go ahead and graph. So remember, slope-intercept form is just y equals mx plus b. So anytime you're trying to graph, make sure it's in y equals mx plus b. So looking at numbers 1 and 2, we want to go ahead and write the equation in standard form with integer coefficients. So there's those integer coefficients that we're looking for. So standard form is just ax plus by equals c. We need to get the x's and the y's on one side of the equal sign, and then all of the constants on the other. So in number 1, I'm going to go ahead and move the x to the other side first. And I want, since this is a negative 5x, I'm going to add 5x. And when you add 5x on this side, you need to make sure that you add your x's with your x's. You have to combine like terms. So I'm going to get an 11x. I still have a minus 2y plus 4 is going to equal, I still have a 9 on that side, plus 2y. So now I need to get the y's on the same side as the x's. So since this is a positive, I'm going to subtract. And I'm going to put that underneath the y's since those are like terms. So I still have 11x. A negative 2y and another negative 2y gives me a negative 4y. Plus 4 is going to equal just the 9 now. And now I need to get the constant, or the numbers without the variables, onto the same side. So I need to subtract the 4, subtract 4. So I get 11x minus 4y is going to equal 5. I'm going to check a is positive, which is the first thing I want to look for, so that's good. And then a, b, and c are all whole numbers, so we are good with this one. This is my standard form, and I'm done. Go ahead and try number 2 on your own. Pause the video, and then when you're done, come back and check your answer. So I got to here, I got a negative 12x minus 5y equals 1. And when I go to check, I have an issue here. The a value is negative. So I need to make that a positive. If I'm going to make that a positive, I'm basically going to multiply the entire thing by a negative 1, which means everything gets multiplied by negative 1. So I end up with a 12x, a positive 5y, and I'm going to equal a negative 1. This would be my final answer in standard form then. So we're going to go ahead and look at 3 and 4, and again, we're writing in standard form with integer coefficients. So we're going to get the x's and the y's on the same side, but we need to have a positive a value, and a, b, and c need to not have fractions. So for number 3, we're going to go ahead and we're going to move that 2/5 x to the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 2/5 x, subtract 2/5 x. So I don't have any x's to combine, so I'm just going to leave it as a negative 2/5 x. I still have that positive y. I'm going to equal a negative 3. So right here, I have a couple issues. My a value is a negative, and it's got a fraction. It's dividing by 5. So we need to make it positive, so we have to times it by a negative. But then we also have to times it by, we have to get rid of that dividing by 5. So we have to times it by a negative 5. We need to multiply by 5. So everything on the inside is going to get that. So I'm going to be left with a 2x minus 5y is going to equal 15. That would be my final answer in standard form. Number 4, same kind of idea. We got to get the y's to the same side as the x's. And then I need to have the constants all alone. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to subtract the 1/2 y. Subtract 1/2 y. So I have a negative 5x minus 1/2 y plus 11. There's nothing over there anymore, so I'm going to have equals 0. Got to get the constant to the other side, so I'm going to subtract 11. Subtract 11. So I get negative 5x minus 1/2 y is going to equal negative 11. So now we got to look. My a is negative, so I know that I need to multiply it by a negative. And I have a fraction. My b value is dividing by 2, so I know that I need to multiply this by 2 then. So everything on the inside is going to be multiplied by that negative 2. So I'm going to get 10x plus y is going to equal 22. That would be my final answer in standard form.